Hello everybody. Welcome to today's major update live stream. So what did you think of that then? Actually, I've got a better image here with actual, that's the one I want. Great to see you guys. It's been a long time coming, hasn't it, Marek? Mm-hmm. But we're finally pleased that today is the day we will be releasing a major overhaul of visuals, audio, and yes, wheels. So that is it. That's it. Well, that's not it, but we've got to go into great detail now. But Marek, maybe you just want to start with how this update has been making this update for you, and like how you've been involved in this update.
Yeah. So we've been working on this update for last couple months, basically since the major overhaul of physics. And for me personally, this update was important because we always wanted to have to space engineers to have certain visual style. You know, these colors, like types of colors we have there, the stripes on the ships, and many other things. And for some time, the game was kind of like not exactly fulfilling this vision. So with this update, actually, we are going back to where space engineers was visually or artistically in 2013, except today it's with AAA sheet graphics. And we'll be talking about many technical details, of course, but again, I think it's very important that now space engineers is visually conveying that kind of message we always wanted it to be conveying, because now it looks like hardcore engineering, you know, game, environment, visuals, everything. So now space engineers looks how it should look, and it feels, you know, it sounds how it should sound, and it's just like right now is what it's supposed to be.
It's been a lot. It's been a lot of iterations, both on the look of the game over the last couple of months, and also the video. What did you think of the video then, guys? Because it was. I've never spent so long making a video. I don't know. The production of it started probably 2 months ago. In fact, that was when we first got the storyboards together and approved. And I finished it, like the last shot was kind of done today. We had to redo some stuff. So it's. I think that the video highlights it really nicely. And
yeah, I also think so. I think that this is actually the best trailer we ever created for space engineering.
Wow,
yeah.
Thank you.
And for some time, I was saying that Tomáš Rampas was doing like really good space engineers trailers. If you look on the original first, let's say, like actually many trailers, because he was making also the update videos and everything, and they were also conveying the vision of space engineers. And now with this one, I think Joel is trumping. Is it correct word? Trumping Tomáš's videos. Not that Tomáš was doing bad. So, but there are a few secrets why this video is so great. Of course, the game, like implicitly or by default, looks this great. You know.
There's actually one thing I just want to quickly point out, that actually the video is in 4K, and you'll get to see it in 4K glory when it's uploaded to YouTube. Well, it's on YouTube now, so you probably saw it only
actually,
on this.
We need to give them signal. So we need to give signal. So
are they ready? Do you reckon?
Peter and Vašek, if you can hear us. Unleash the major overhaul of visuals, audio, and wheels.
All right.
And so in a few minutes you will get it on Steam.
Few minutes, yeah.
You will get it on YouTube, and yeah, of course, and there will be a blog post from me and basically the rest of the team.
The video, the blog post is the longest blog post we have ever produced. This update is enormous. There is both the changelog and the blog post are so big. I think it's a 40-page blog post in great detail, all the changes that we made. Yes. Marek, just kind of a little bit closer to the mic. Apparently, that's probably better then.
Okay, good.
Okay.
So what else? Yeah, I think the trailer looks so great because the game looks nice, like the render and the graphics and everything by default looks like this in the game. You know, that's very important. That everything you saw in the trailer was made in game, just by playing the game and recording the stuff. You know, that's it. Like we played it. Joel played it in 4K. And I don't think there was any special post-processing, or there wasn't any, right?
Sorry, I was distracted by.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, like, basically everything that is in the trailer is in-game.
Oh, the look of it, yeah.
Yeah, the look of it. Yeah. And what else? We also used a new tool. We call it replay tool, and also offline rendering I will quickly talk about this tool. So the replay tool basically allows Joel to play the game
So I
as
show some things.
individual characters, record, what these characters are doing. It can be a like guy in a suit or a spaceship or something else.
I mean, yes. So we're being reminded here, but the trailer wasn't just my work. There was both Marek and did I do that? Both Marek and Natik were creative. What would you call it? Creative directors of it.
Yeah.
So they were giving me feedback.
And also
throughout.
Joachim.
And also
Joachim created
all the stuff.
The scenes, the ships, probably the car, like all these things. And also the programmers, Chendo, Peter Minarik and other guys, they created, this in-game.
It's a good shout out to some of the peeps. Both the ship that you saw the blue guys make is made by somebody called Venom, I believe. So shout out to him and his creation.
Mm-hmm.
If you check the YouTube link that is now live, you'll see the two main ships, the big red ship and the big blue ship, are both made by members of our community. So many thanks to those guys.
Yeah. So back to this replay tool. So basically, exactly like every person or every like entity you see in this trailer is actually Joel. And it's like Joel here, Joel there, it's all Joels, and also the camera is basically Joel. And the second thing is this offline rendering tool, which we used on many of the shots, not all of them, but on many of them. It's a tool that allows us to render the game like in an offline manner, so we don't need to be recording it real time. Therefore, we can like create more complex scenes, and also we can like ignore little stuttering here and there and so on. And which the rendering takes longer, of course, because we need to render PNG files and so on. But again, then you get 4K 60 FPS, absolutely fluent video with no stutterings, lags, and things like that. So that's also a new improvement. But I think the main thing here is the replay tool, which allows to have like hundreds of Joels running around and creating the scene. And so again, just think about this, that this video was kind of like put together by Joel. Not a bunch of people or actors or like a huge crew of people like where everyone would do this or that. It was just one person playing it all over again and again and again.
I can use this if you want, Marek. I can use this.
Okay, so show it.
Okay then, so let's take a look at the game then. Just make sure it's selected here.
And Joel, I will just double check, okay?
Okay, and we've got lots of guests today who worked on this update. Honestly, guys, the blog post, the features, the details in this update there's so many. And of course, wheels are redone as well. And it's too much to even comprehend to begin to start with. And there's also just some of the shout outs to some of the features. We have the new voxel from Medieval Engineers. So you can now voxel surf. So when you place a new voxel, it will appear immediately. So you can actually place voxel and run along it now. So voxel performance is greatly improved. It's just one of the many improvements that has gone into this update. So yeah. So here's a scene that I took here. And if I actually fly around, there's a car waiting. Now I've got to get up some cheeky dev keys here, dev stuff. But now, if I press 5, I pre-recorded the movement of where this rover is going to go, and I can choose any angle that I want. I need to put some music down, and then any second now, there we go. So the rover's moving, and I'm able now to track it with my camera and do whatever shot I want. So it's a really powerful tool for making videos, but it's currently it's a very rudimentary manner, so it's not for public use at the moment. But it really did allow me to create some really cool stuff. So here we have the Cerberus, which had a nice different lick of paint from the original Venom's workshop one, and some few modifications here and there. There was something else. I need to get just a little bit of background music on, but it's very quiet. Okay, it's just the main menu music so loud. So, and what I can show you here is actually how I can create There's so much to get through, so I won't stick too long on this. I'll get back to this
Later.
Yeah, okay. So
everything is online, like a blog post and video and Steam update. So people can play it now. So Joel, let's go to the blog post and we can start
working our way down it.
And I will be calling the guys.
Oh, that's some spam there. Hold on. Oh, hello.
Yeah, and also we forgot to mention Karel.
There's so many people to shout out. We'll get through them all.
Karel, who created the music for this trailer, and we're working with Karel like even a couple hours today on making some final tweaks.
So, what did you guys think of the music as well? Because that is a new Space Engineers theme, which there's a good chance you'll hear that going into the game, and it could even become main menu music. So I don't know what you think of the new stuff, but with the drums and it really pulled the whole trailer together. So yeah, that's big shout out to Carol. Right. And then I can switch. I should be able to switch. Oh, that's not. Maybe it's not. That's because I'm in. So I can switch between all these different actors, basically. And obviously they need to come down from there, but this is just some of the crazy shenanigans that we've got going on. So I was waiting to try and get hold of that blog post. Here it is. So it's a really, really big blog post, and there's so much to go through. So do you want to go just basically stage by stage, Marek?
Okay. So again, the main motivation was really to make Space Engineers, like playing Space Engineers, to feel good, And this starts with the visuals, the audio, and also the interaction that you have with the game, like the feedback that the game is giving you, and basically having a like reward feeling for. Just shooting or drilling or welding, even these simple things should give you some kind of reward and just feel good. And so, again, this update was about massive overhaul of visuals, audio, and wheels. Like they're kind of randomly connected, but that's it. And many other things. So there was this replay and offline tool. There is also NVIDIA Uncell thing inside this. So if you press, I think it's Alt F2, right?
What if it'll come up? The game's paused, but you won't see it on the stream. So
you get Uncell screen or overlay on, and you can make like high resolution screenshots, 360 screenshots, and many other things that NVIDIA Uncell allows you. Joel, if you can show me.
Sorry, accidental. Yeah, there we go.
Then and regarding the blog post. There is like a lot of stuff. Joel said it's 40 pages. It's really long.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and I think you will be reading it for a long time. And just think about us who have to actually write it and proofread it and then make all these, iterations.
It's worth mentioning just. Sorry, you got to
part
there.
of it is also a guest blog post from Renda Chenda, about the technical things, like that we have in the render and that were actually a huge part of this release. Then there is a guest blog post from Martin, who is responsible for the new wheels. Yeah, and we actually didn't talk much about wheels. So again, like big part of this update is what do we think, not just improved, but really correct wheels. So basically the wheels before were just some kind of rudimentary implementation that we did maybe 3 years ago or something like this. Actually, wheels were not even in the original vision of Space Engineers as a major thing because it's space, not a car game. But once we made wheels, then we realized that if they have to stay in the game, they need to be proper wheels. So there are many details, technical details in Martin's blog post for the wheels. And again, it's all about immersion. So the visuals, the audio, the feedback, interaction with the world is about you being immersed in the game. And there is also official Russian language translation. So I think this will be good news for all the Russians. And actually there is many of them. The exact numbers is in the blog post, but I was very surprised by the number. I think it's like hundreds of thousands of people, right?
It's a lot of.
I was really surprised.
A huge part.
I was like, okay, we'll probably like few people, but I knew the numbers will be big.
There we go.
It's like.
Do we have any Russians in the chat? Just give us a little wave. Just put a little 07 or something.
Say something.
Or say something in Russian. Yeah.
Okay, so Joel, we can move a little bit in the blog post. Yeah, and another funny thing is that actually this trailer that we created is finally the trailer I wanted in Space Engineers. So like there is a large ship flying, crashing from some fight or something, and crash landing, like bumping, sliding, and so on, and engineers leaving it, fixing the ship, and then like getting back to the ship and flying, back where it started. So after I think 4 years, now we are finally to make it really in this cinematic level kind of thing.
I'm just putting some stuff in this rover because it's not particularly set up for use on the moon.
Yeah.
If you're wondering why it looks a bit floaty.
Yeah, and again, regarding the visual style, the blog post has a link to our original art style kind of guidelines, and we are encouraging all the YouTubers, streamers, modders, basically content creators to like start using it, or at least consider using this art style. And why is it important is that this way we can be sending the right message about what is Space Engineers, with the right visual style, because people see the visuals first and then the rest of the thing. So right now the Space Engineers is getting like really strongly back to the original visuals. Yeah, Joel, if you can move it a little bit. And more. Yeah, okay, you can stop and like here.
Okay.
Also, big part of this is animations, like character animations. The audio, so basically we went through all the sound effects, arcade and realistic, that we have in the game, and we tweaked them, because they were there, we just tweak them, make them work better. And why is this visual things so important for us? So it's because it's about the first minute impressions that you get from, like any work of art. It's not only about it working technically like correctly or so, but it's also the user interface and also how you feel when you interact with the thing. So for this reason, the visuals are important for us. Joe, you can move, because I will try to speed this up so we can start calling the guests. Yeah. And so again, the work on this update started kind of 3 months ago, but in reality, actually, it has been in progress for years. It was just not so visible. So yeah, we have new particles. Like first, they are GPU particles, so we can render more of them. Plus, the artists, Natik and the other artists, recreated the particles from scratch. So now they look more AAA and are more richer and actually are correct. That's also very important. You can move. And move. Yeah, there is also camera shake effect, which is again adding this kind of immersion that, when you bump to something, hit something, the camera, the view shakes a little bit. I hope it's a good thing. Then armor, you can move. Armor, or the visuals of the armor are, I think, one of the main, descriptive things about Space Engineers. The colors. So there is this right color palette that was actually inspired by the colors Lego. Lego basically has the very similar.
Because that was one of the basic things from Space Engineers.
And we wanted the game to be, or the things that you build in the game to be using these kind of colors, because they are. If the game is not too colorful, but is using some basic color palette, then the geometry of the objects can stand out, and it's actually easier to read, the shape of the ships and the other things. Joe, you can move. Yeah, and one more thing. Actually, after 4 years, we changed the shape of the armor edge.
Yes.
Until now,
I'll
it was
show
this triangular thing, and now it's rectangular. It's more, it's better, has better texture, more high quality texture, with the right metalness and everything. Yeah, and this is also very important for the armor. So now the armor, visually speaking, looks as it looked 4 years ago when we released first version of Space Engineers, except now it's with more AAA effects and everything. But again, the feeling of metalness and this iron and this strong steel and the right colors, that's what is back. Super important for us. Then glass has been like there was good glass sometimes, then there was bad glass. We were going like on and off with the glass. Now it's very good, so there is some reflection on the glass. There is also some very like subtle dirt in the corners, not obscuring the view, but again giving you the feedback that there is some glass in front of you, so you can walk through it, and there is some reflection.
Here's the armor edges, Marek.
Yeah, I think armor edges are just fantastic.
So yeah, it might come as like quite a shock to some, because they've always been triangular, but they now look like this.
Yeah, I think they are very good. And actually, we made them many years ago triangular because we wanted to save some polygons, But nowadays, it doesn't matter that much. So if you can show me the block again, Joel.
I'm sorry, I accidentally alt-tabbing there.
So that was glass. Then we have this, we call it depth buffer clipping avoidance trick or thing. So basically, before, when you were standing in first person mode very close to some surface and you had tool in your hand, the tool or weapon was clipping through the object. Now it's not. It's just like always the tool in your hand is always in front of the thing, which I think is it may seem like a minor thing, but from the immersion perspective, I think it's actually, when I saw this a week ago, I was super happy. I was like, I think it's maybe not the biggest thing, but for me it's one of the most important. And also, funny story about this is that originally we were estimating that it will take 5 days or something like this to do this, but because we didn't have so much time, Petr, Chendo, they did this thing basically in 1 hour. Or at least that's the story I want to believe, So sometimes it's like if you don't have time, like you are forced to do it like fast and so on. So I think it's a good life advice, or like, Then visual tweaks. So there is proper attenuation for point lights. How they attenuate with the distance, how the specular component of the light changes and diffuse changes and so on. So because sometimes in the past the lights were not really good, then we fixed suite headlights and all these things, and glares. There is new HDR that you definitely noticed in the trailer, and eye adaptation and all the other things that basically are helping to look more realistic and also more cinematic. By the way, if someone will not like this, like these bloomy effects or things like that, they can be turned off in a graphical
so
settings.
that's definitely worth mentioning, because obviously these visual effects are not for everyone's tastes, but it's worth. So let me actually mention this. So one of the things the bloom is, if there is bloom turned on, it's much higher quality now, because what happens is if you sit down this seat, see, I can read this, or this LCD panel. This is with the default settings that you get in the game now. So LCD panels are fully readable, and what happens is the bloom is actually based on distance. So if you see something on the corner of your eye, you'll see this bloom, but as you approach it, it will become readable.
Yeah, very nice.
And the actual bloom itself, rather than the kind of misty, hazy one it was before, it's kind of like a higher quality bloom. We'll wait for Chenda to probably explain that better. But this is the default settings. I'm really pleased because LCD panels are so much more visible than even the game it is now. So
yeah, I'm very happy with these visuals. Like, it just looks so good. And also, like, the hard part actually is that in our game, the environment and everything, all the game objects are dynamic, destructible, so everything can change in any moment. So we cannot pre-compute the scene. Like other games, they can pre-compute global illuminations. We cannot.
Just to quickly show, and this is now briefly with the settings off. So again, if you want a setting to turn bloom off, that is now in the graphical options, and that will save for all your games. It's not like per world or anything. So if you don't like that, then you can turn it off, and there you go. There's absolutely zero bloom.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'll.
So if you can scroll me the blog post. There is also a new skybox. I mean, it's the old skybox from 2013, kind of like changed. There are no more these kind of like fake or imposter asteroids in it, and it has this almost monochromatic, like palette. Also very important because then you can see, or this distant skybox is contrasted with the closer objects like asteroids or ships. So it's again easier for you to read what you see and easier to see the environment.
And it's worth noting, of course, like with this one, we put it on the workshop a couple of months ago, but this is the same skybox, but with the correct environment settings. So I think when we put it on the workshop, there was like it was very light and very green, and this is the exact same skybox, but except it has a different environment settings basically.
Yeah. So what else? Better global illumination, but Chendo will talk about this. Then some lens effects, chromatic aberration to make it look more like cinematic. Again, if you can scroll, Joel, please, because I really need to speed up things. 3D models. Some were changed. It was these things were just details. For example, we had the cockpit chair, and a couple months ago it was more rounded. You know, this one is more like boxy. You know, more
like the original.
Yeah, more like the original. And again, it's important because I'm not saying space engineering should be about like boxy things, but it's part of it, and again it's helping you read the geometry much better. Then of course overhaul of particles, and I think this was brutal, and the particles are really adding a lot of depth to what you see. Joel, if you can scroll me,
sorry,
please.
I'm bidding it. All of this details, we are flicking over this quite
scroll.
quickly, and there is you can see
and this gravity thing.
detail.
So this was very important. So basically we get back to the original character animation speed and animations, or like kind of. So what is important, the character is now running and walking and sprinting the same speed as it was in 2013. Also the speed of falling, you know, this gravity pull is the same as it was in 2013, and it's important for us very much because now the game is much more like reactive, or much more like fluid, faster, you move faster and so on.
I'm just showing the doors here closing.
And so for example, you don't have anymore this effect that when you are jumping on a planet that it feels like moon gravity, you know, now it will feel like normal Earth gravity. So this is for me personally, this was very important. Joel, if you can scroll. Yeah, jetpack is also kind of faster and with faster slowdown. So again, it's more comfortable to be just running around. You know, it doesn't take so long. I think very important. It's just like the thing was, so back to basic, yeah. But actually, the basics from 2013, I think were super good. So that's why we are trying to get it back with all the stuff that got added to the game over the years. Which is making it even more challenging, but I think we did it. Character animations. Yeah, so finally after 4 years, we have this animation where you jump and fall, you know, like your feet land on the ground, they will make this this little, you know, movement. Finally, after so many years. And again, it feels more rewarding when you jump, fall, you know, your feet or your legs do this thing. Again, the feeling from the jump is just much more immersive. Joel, if we can move.
Yeah, I'm trying.
And of course, like holding the tool or weapon and these things, we also polished these animations, so it should feel better. And voxels, yes. So the medieval engineers got voxel update a couple months ago. I think it was, let's say, 2 months ago, and we also moved this part of the engine to space engineers. So now the voxels, you know, voxels are all the asteroids, planets, and all these things. Basically everything that is rock or ground or earth or like grass is voxels. So voxels are about 400% faster, you know, and by this I mean when there are some changes being done to the voxels, like explosions or digging, drilling, and so on. And also the voxel loading, which is part of the world loading, is now faster.
So I wonder if I can show this.
Estimation is about 60% faster. So again, like these instant changes with voxel tool or drilling and so on are 400 faster, and loading is, let's say, 60% faster. So I think this is also like very good life quality improvement. And there is also this grass switching when you are drilling through something and the voxels are changing on grass, that it was kind of like switching on and off weirdly, that also got fixed. So that's very good. Then doors, again, this may seem like minor thing, but again, from the just feeling perspective, it's very important that the doors, the default interior doors, they open and close much faster. The sound is also changed to feel more rewarding, so actually just go to the game and start opening and closing the doors, and you will feel very happy. I guarantee. And what is other? Yeah, we have this configurable LOD. So basically, in graphic settings, you can set voxel quality and model quality to extreme values when you are doing screenshots or when you have really strong computer. What it means, basically, the game will not be doing load switching at all. So in no distance. So of course, the rendering will be much more demanding on your GPU and CPU. But again, if you are doing offline rendering or if you have really strong computer or doing screenshots, then it can be good because even the very distant objects will still have the high quality LODs. Plus, you will not see the switching, which is actually very good, I think, in the videos, to not see the switching. We have improved bullet hit decal, so when you are shooting, the little bullet holes stay there, and again, shooting just feels very good, very rewarding. What is also important to mention is that the focus of this update was on space visuals mostly. We did some improvements for the planets also, like coloring and this global illumination and many other things. But planets per se were not the major goal here. So just like it's mostly about making the space look more AAA. Then regarding audio, so in-game we have arcade mode and realistic mode. Maybe people don't even know that there is realistic mode, and I will explain. Arcade mode is where you hear sounds like if this was a standard Hollywood movie, where it's a sound that the sound is being like transferred through the vacuum, which in reality doesn't work like this. But again, it's game, so and it needs to feel rewarding. So you hear even things that normally you would not hear in the space. That's the default mode. There is also a realistic mode that you can switch inward settings. In this case, you will only hear sounds where the sound can actually transmit through vibrations or something else to your body or to the listener. So for example, when you are standing on a ship and this ship got a hit by missile, you will hear not that like high-pitched explosion, but you will feel the rumbling, the vibrations and so on. Or for example, you can hear your breath and when you are running, but you will not hear a guy flying in jetpack next to you because there is no medium where his sounds will be transmitted to your listener. So there is this realistic mode, and you can switch them, and I think the realistic mode actually sounds super cool, and it's like movie stuff. And it's very similar to, if you remember Gravity movie from like 4 years ago, they also had this realistic mode in their movie, where you can hear only what the character could actually hear. Joe, can you switch, please?
Oh, sorry. And there was actually something the trailer didn't do as well, as because the music was so powerful.
Yes.
You will appreciate the sound overhaul much more yourself when you're playing the game, because even just now, like these thrusters have got a new sound. And
part of the blog post is a short video where we are showcasing different sounds in the game. Some are arcade, some are realistic. So you can play this video and you will hear different sounds.
Do you want to go for any of these things?
Yeah, I really need to speed up. So just okay. We tweaked many sound effects. For example, we enabled the HUD voices because I think they are just like really good. Footsteps. So now you should feel rewarding just walking in the game because you will feel your boots to be like running around, jumping, and all these things. This is really important. When you jump and you land, you should hear them boom, and so on. Same for magnetic boots, and like you should see like this. We also looked on where the listener, which is the point where it's like relative to all the sound sources, where it is. We also tweaked this, so basically it's always in the camera except when you are flying or piloting a large ship, then the sound of the ship, like engine, is local too. That's the only difference. Other than that, the listener is always in cameras. For example, if you're in third person in some large ship or small ship, let's say small ship, and you zoom out, in that third person, you will kind of stop hearing engines of that sound. And also when the ship will be shooting, you will hear it like it's in distance. What else? Character jumping, yeah, rubbing of textile. This was also important. That when you jump, you feel that you actually ship colliding. We also polish these. Yeah, of course, small ship cockpit. Like when you enter or leave small ship cockpit, now it sounds more, so again, revaning. That was very important. Bullet impacts have this pew effect that you can recognize in many Western Wild West, Western movies like this. When the bullet hits a rock or something like this, there is this like pew pew sound. Also very important. Then we also work. This is more technical thing that when there are many sound sources or instances in the game, it can overrun the sound engine. So the game needs to start prioritizing the sounds. It cannot play hundreds of sounds all the time. So now there is a system which
just go a bit closer to my mic again.
Okay, which in real time is prioritizing the sounds and playing it so that you always hear the sounds that are close to you. Then there is sound occlusion. So if there is a sound source and there is some occlusion or some occluder, some object between the sound and you, there will be some low pass filter or something like that will change the sound, and so you will feel that there is some occlusion. Joel, if you can scroll, please. What else? Jetpack sounds, yeah, and all the tools are tweaked with better timing and so on. I think this is very important. Okay, so wheels. Martin will talk much more technical details about wheels. So what I will just say is that driving the car should feel good. That was very important for me. So accelerating, stopping the car, having the good off-road experience was important, but it's still very important what kind of car you build. So you cannot just build any car and expect it will not break, because usually we are running or driving in high speed in Space Engineers, and the cars are heavy, so it's actually it can be easy to break them. So if you can scroll.
Let's go down, okay.
So what we did, yeah, I think Martin should talk about these technical things more. Yeah, there was replay tool, but we talk about this official Russian translation. That's another thing. We can say the number of people because I think it's here, or not?
No, it's not there.
But I think it was there. It was some big.
Oh
number.
no, more than 200,000.
Yeah, so there are 200,000 Russian space engineers, which is a nice number. Then there is NVIDIA and Cell that we talk about. And I think that's it. So we can start calling the guests.
Well, there's...
Okay. Yeah, I will call Martin.
All right then. So what do you guys think then so far? So there's a lot to get through. There's definitely not enough time to go through all of this. I recommend reading. There's blog posts from each person who worked on this stuff. It's so many changes, so many changes. So yeah, I'm really happy with these explosions though. So guys, welcome to the stage. We have Martin, who is one of the physics programmers here, engine programmers, and he, you will know him as he did had a major part in the last major update, and he has gone ahead and sorted out those wheels. So,
hey guys. So
I should probably get some wheels up, shouldn't I?
For this update, I was working on wheels, physics of wheels. So we can jump right to it. So first thing we did for wheels is the new physics system, which
just pick a bit closer, man.
Yep, which simulates the static friction for wheels, which basically helps you to keep you in turns. So before the wheels were acting more like sliding pads, not really wheels. So now they really behave like real world wheels. Okay, you can
You saw that? Okay.
To next one.
Static friction. There's
Yeah.
lots of images and diagrams and GIFs and videos
Yeah.
in the blog post.
Definitely check out the blog post. I wrote everything in much general detail in there.
God, Mars is cool.
So immediately when we enabled this static friction on wheels, the wheels started to turn the cars properly, as you would expect in the real world. But there was another problem we encountered right after this. Basically, the cars in Space Engineers are usually really heavy, and the center of mass on these creations are also high. So immediately when we started to turn these cars in high speeds, they tend to flip over really in really low speeds. So what we did was we are actually dynamically changing the center of mass of your car, so it's more resilient to forces from wheels, and it's helping you to not flip over so often. But it's some artificial force, but it's intentionally limited. It's within some real expectations. So it still depends on your design, how you design the car.
Mm-hmm.
The faster you can drive it, the sharper turns you can make. When you make some car with really high center of mass, you won't be able to drive it so fast and make so sharp turns without flipping over. Next thing we did was we removed some unused properties from terminal, and we made some systems to keep control over these settings in runtime. One of these things is, for example, adaptive steering. So it's a system which automatically sets the maximum steering angle of wheels based on surface and the actual speed of the car at the moment. The new thing for the Space Engineers, which we added in this update, is physics materials for surfaces, for voxels. So when you will be driving your cars, you can notice that the ice is more slippery than
that's really cool. That's a really cool thing.
Other surfaces. So
I'll see if I can go find some ice to show that difference.
I don't think there's ice on Mars.
There is at the top.
Yeah.
So let me just go take this. I'll go to like the border where it is. Okay, it's not too far away. There's a bit of snow. Let's go over here so we get a mix of ice and rock.
I think this is snow actually.
Oh, snow. So is it?
Snow is actually a little bit more slippery than grass, for example, but it's not that slippery as ice.
Okay. Well, I'll go to the Earth like it in a second. Then I'll show that off. Let's see if we can notice a difference there.
So you can maybe show some driving on surface here,
yeah,
and then show on ice for comparison.
It's a big difference. As soon as you load up your vehicles, you know the difference. And the testers, and you tested a bunch of different vehicles. Okay, sorry, I'm stopped mid sentence again. All right, let's go.
Yeah, we tried to make some good compromise for small designs, for large designs, so it works for as many cars as possible. We tried a lot of designs from workshop to make sure it works for you after the update.
And you'll notice also, guys, there is new particle effects for the dust as well. Basically every single particle effect in the game has been redone. So you'll notice it in...
Yeah, if you drive a little faster and...
So there's a speed limit on this, hold on.
I think you might get it to drift on snow too.
Oh really? I see. It's 200.
Try to not flip it.
Okay, here we go then. It's holding. It's holding. Oh, look at it. Oh, look at that.
it's sliding just a little bit, but this one is
Look
light
at the suspension.
It has 6 wheels. Yeah.
Oh, a bit too much.
That's another thing we made. We adjusted the constraints on suspension, so
Yeah.
they work much better now.
It's-
Without so much settings.
Okay, undo these settings again. Shall I move down again? So enjoy your ice cold. Let's go to but while we're still on this section, let's actually go to an ice lake, and you can see this ice lake. Oh, we can go here. That'll be different. Is this ice? I think this is ice.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. All right. So this will be an interesting situation.
It's quite uneven.
Yeah, we'll see. Is the gravity? Look, it's got a low gravity, which this car isn't really designed for. So in fact, we will go to the Earth Lake. Yeah, it held on for a good amount of time though. All right, let's see. So how does it flying around here? Trying to find one of my favourite lakes, somewhere in the snowy, somewhere like here. Okay, there we go. Okay.
So the faster you will move on any surface, including the ice, the bigger the chance is that you will get a drift on your wheel, and it will eventually drift entire car. So
I'm trying to do it here.
if you move slower on ice, you can get over it and like not get any drift even on ice. But the faster you move, the bigger the chance is that you
See how slippery this is then, Martin.
try to do it. As you
Trying
can
to
see,
speed- more speed.
you are turning, and it's like sliding. It's not like keeping the thread in the track.
It's
in
not.
the turn.
Yeah, exactly. It's not being able to turn as effectively here. So let's see. I've got some more speed. Right, and
As you can see,
hey!
it's sliding.
I had a bit of help though.
There is certain amount of grip still on the wheels.
You
so
can see it. You can see it going.
You can slow down. You can still turn a little bit, but it will drift.
So now if we go back onto, we'll see the difference from going off the ice onto the dry land. And my back, my tail's actually coming out without me doing anything.
Yeah.
I'm really, that's a weird feeling in Space Engineers. I have not felt that before. Just suddenly losing my tail, that is weird. Oh, I'm kind of fighting the controls there actually to keep it straight. Oh my goodness, and then we get back to land and boom.
Actually, when I was programming this, there were so many times that I was like drifting on a lake or on an ice lake, and I suddenly entered the ground around the lake, and I hit it sideways, and it flipped me over.
Really?
Yeah. Because it's you get suddenly much more grip, and when you hit it the sideways, it will flip you over naturally.
Look at this. Look, I've actually got, this car's a bit cheaty because it's actually got a gyroscope. So if I'm using just that, I'm turning left here, but it won't go.
Actually,
So you
the
just probably
gyroscope
slowed.
is stopping you from rotating.
Oh, okay. But with oh yeah. I love seeing the compression though of that suspension now. It's beautiful.
If you have when you have a car without a gyroscope and you catch the drift on an ice lake, you might even turn few times.
We've got some air here. I don't know if we're gonna make this. Oh, we made it! Oh!
And this is another new system we added. So this was a perfect example. So when you are jumping like
so
this,
much tougher now, aren't they?
in off-road, there is a new system that will detect when you are about to strike the ground hard, and it will make the suspension tougher, so they will absorb more impact.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see it when you jump, the wheels will extend further down, and the strength will.
I'll get a bit of air here. Hold on, let's see. Oh no! I hit that a bit too hard. Yeah. Okay.
It's obviously not functioning, but you are touching the ground.
All right. Is that also going to go? No. That. Okay.
So it will save you from some crash landings.
There wasn't enough clearance there, so yeah. Okay. So shall I scroll down here, see if we've got, say, surface. Okay, here we go. It's called Airshock TM, is that it?
It's Airshock.
Airshock.
We call it like that. Yeah, another thing from blog post, we are changing the contact points at real time, so the actual driving experience should be much smoother when you are driving in high speed. You should no longer experience the random bounce of the voxel.
So I'm going to put the max speed up to the max here, unlimited speed. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, it should be really smooth even at full speed.
45. What? It's really unsettling because, you know, playing Space Engineers for so long, driving this fast with a wheeled vehicle it would normally be terrifying, but I can actually kind of turn here. I'm turning at 70. You really see that suspension. Look at that there. Right on. And it's not flipping.
Yeah,
Speed's increasing as well.
It's like diving to the turn, but
Yeah.
it's helping you actually to not flip over.
Yeah? Maybe you can stay up there. Whoa, that was close. That was very
That
lucky
was really
driving.
close.
So you could probably, if you turn a bit, you probably still can get like a good old drift going on,
Yeah.
even with...
Even on grass.
Yeah.
It all depends on speed. And speed, number of wheels, and mass of your car. These are all factors.
I really want to find some jump to do, because that was amazing, because again, that jump, you wouldn't have landed that before.
Yeah.
I really think that racing maps and racing with wheels is going to be so much more viable now. It's going to be really exciting to see what people come up with in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, as Marek told already, you are really focusing on like making the off-road experience really great.
Okay, clip the undercarriage there. Is there a jump here? It might be two. Oh yeah, I made it. Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah, driving, it feels totally different
Very good.
to Space Engineers to this point. Okay, I was a bit too firm, I think. There we go. And even the crashes, when you do eventually get it to crash, look more epic now. Look
So
at
guys,
that.
what else to discuss?
Okay, so
Yeah, braking and air friction. So we tried to like make braking really great and make it feel great. So when you are braking, it actually feels like you are braking. And air friction. So when you are like driving on flat surface, the cars will like slowly slow down over time. The heavier cars will slow down slower. The lighter will slow down faster. Yeah, I already talked about this.
this could be interesting. The next one, unexpected maybe.
Oh, which one? Jumping?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's another thing that should help you in off-road. So when you are like stuck in some terrain and you can get out of it, you can either engineer a way out, find some way, or you can use the new jumping system, which will help you. It will use the springs in suspensions to like...
Speak a bit closer, mate, sorry.
Yeah, it will use the springs in suspensions to propulse you upwards and give you some chance to get out of the bank or
I'm
something.
going to show this off in somewhere where you might actually need it. Hydraulics. Let's have a look here. Right then, so we're going to go get onto some difficult terrain. Like this is the kind of stuff where it probably won't get stuck, but you can get stuck in this kind of thing if I get my wheels jammed. Let's try and get stuck.
You
here.
usually get stuck.
Let's say we're stuck.
Yeah.
Okay. Wait.
X key.
Oh yeah. Charging. Pop.
You usually get stuck when your belly touches the ground and wheels are not touching the ground. So that's the moment you usually get stuck.
Oh my goodness.
It's like Knight Rider. You
Knight
remember the movie, the TV show, where he can like jump.
So this is on X key. So you can do it while driving as well.
Sir.
You can do it while driving as well.
Yeah.
So if I'm driving here, you'll see the suspension lower. So I'm driving, press X, you see it going down, lowering the suspension. Oh!
This car actually has quite off the center of mass, so it will like turn forward a little bit.
Yeah, let's try a different car actually. I've been using this one. Let's try something I wonder if the classic Jackal buggy will work well, because that was always a fun one of mine. But again, I've no idea what the wheel settings. This one is Joachim's, and he's had a lot of time to perfect the design of this one. So I'm just going to chase the sun here a little bit.
Actually, most of the designs should work out of the box. You should
Okay.
not need to adjust anything. These settings are there just when you need to adjust something to your needs.
Okay then, so let's try the jackal, the heavy jackal even. Okay. What's it doing? Let's see what the default stuff does.
The amount you actually jump depends
that
on the
drifting?
number of wheels and the mass of the car.
Okay. So again, this is the ice drifting. It's really cool because you can do some really cool. There we go. Just
Yeah, when you slow down, the wheels will actually catch the grip even on
So,
the ice.
so if I use the, there we go, stop. Go nice and slowly, it's okay. You can see I'm driving, but even so, you can even see the tail sliding out there. Even at like 10 meters a second, you can see it's not holding.
Yeah, actually 10 meters per second is actually pretty fast.
Yeah.
In real world, it's fast.
So guys, simplify terminal.
Yeah, I already talked about this. We removed some unused terminals properties, and the game is now handling them on its own. Yeah, Sandra did some changes to multiplayer, so it should work even in multiplayer really nice. And here are some best practices, like when you are designing your car, keep center of mass low. It will drive better. I already talked about this.
It was interesting there when I came off the ice back onto the hard ground. It suddenly like hit me, you know.
Mm-hmm. It will suddenly catch the grip.
Suddenly catch the grip, and if I'm on an angle there, if I'm drifting, and like you said, drifting from the ice onto the land, it will suddenly get the grip and then flip me.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's amazing. So someone says, so what's it like in the desert then? What is there any kind of special material for the sand?
Sand. There are two properties for physics materials. It's a friction and it's a restitution. So like coefficient in physical terms, it's coefficient of restitution. So it will not like when you hit the sand, it will not like bump you like back. The speed you hit the ground is not reflected back on the sound so much as on ice.
I'm just looking here through the setting. So you got the air shock is in here as well. Automatically increases the suspension. Okay, so you can that's cool.
Yeah, all the new systems you can enable and disable them in terminal.
Right then.
Yeah, that's basically all.
That's it. All right then.
Very nice. I think like if I can speak.
Yeah, sure.
We just move like this. So I think this is really important wheel updates, and thanks Martin and everyone else for helping to do this. And
It's awesome stuff.
yeah, it's awesome stuff.
Yeah, I hope our players will like it too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let us know how you get on with the wheels, guys, and yeah, it's really exciting indeed
so
to have
thanks
this.
Martin, and I will bring Natik.
Thank you very much, Martin.
Hey, see you
Bye.
guys.
Cool then. So we have the next guest on the show. Let's see. We have
Natik.
Natik. Okay.
Thank you.
Hey, what up,
Natik.
guys? Oh, hello.
So if you guys don't know, this is Natik, and he is our lead artist here at Keen Software House.
Yeah, I'm trying to be.
And he has been heavily involved in this update in many areas, both from the actual kind of the game itself and also with the trailer along with me. So he's been very, very busy, haven't you, Natik?
It was an honor to work with you.
It's been nice to work with you too, mate. It's been really good. I think we in the end that it was a long trip, it was a long road, but eventually I think that trailer came out.
Yeah, it's
pretty
worth
alright.
it. It's really definitely worth it.
Alright then, so let me go down to your points, because we're going for the blog post here.
Yeah.
So let's just see. Visual. No, that's for Honza. Well, mainly, why don't you start off with telling about the particles and like what the approach was and what you had and kind of the history of particles maybe and what you wanted to do with them.
Well, the interesting part is actually that when we initially were discussing with our art guys whether to just polish existing particles or whether to go completely by creating them from scratch. So we for maybe a day or two we were like discussing it, like which way to go, and then after discussion we decided to go with the second one, like the second way. We were reworking them completely from scratch.
Every particle in the game?
Every particle,
every
absolutely.
single particle.
Yeah,
I thought
and
so.
our initial goal was to actually to make them cinematic, like Mark says, AAA shit. That's our main goal here, you know. And we really tried our best to make it look really beautiful and nice. And as you can see it from the video, from the trailer, we tried really hard to make those shootings feel nice, so that when you destroy something, so you get some satisfaction from it, if it's possible, of course.
I mean, the explosions now, and that's something that you might not have noticed in the trailer, you may have noticed, but that is that there is now impact impulses. So when a missile actually hits a ship, it actually gives it an impulse, because you'll see that when that miner gets hit by the barrage of missiles, it gets flung into the station. So it makes firing rockets at stuff much more satisfying. It really is great. So I recommend you guys get into some fighters or get into some big ships and having some battles, because the combination of those impulses and the new particles. The chat was really liking the missile trails, by the way. They do look sweet. The brightness of those the missiles now.
Yeah, we tried hard to make those missile trails look volumetric, like have some depth in them. So I really think that you will like it, guys, because we tried to put love and emotion into each bit. Visually, it's all about emotion and the right feelings we were trying to express via our visuals. So lots of things were done. We reworked lots of things, really. It was a great challenge, I would say, and I think to this point, to this stage, I would say, I'm quite happy how the game looks. And of course, still there are things to work on, and there are other challenges that we will hopefully face. But for now, I think it looks really good. And if you would go to easy,
I was just letting you weld up because I was just showing off the wheels.
Yeah. Wheels look really good, really awesome.
It's amazing just there again. I was on the ice and you can see I was going forwards and my tail started to slide out and then I'd lose it and then I'd go forward again. Yeah. So driving on ice is really hard. In the past, driving on ice was one of the best places to drive because it was flat. So I think race maps that incorporate ice are going to be a little bit different now. It's going to be more like a challenging section than an actually easy section. So let me just load up one of these worlds.
Okay.
Now, what should we go to? Oh, I'll show this off actually because this has all the stuff going on. So this is the boarding party Final 22.
Okay.
It's got the whole station and stuff. So.
All right. So if you guys would just go to this easy start space world and just grab a automatic rifle and just go completely berserk, you can feel that satisfaction actually from destroying stuff around you.
Right, let's
because it will be
do that.
It will be supplemented with very nice visuals.
What I'm going to do first, Atik, is unload the crew again. So if you guys look here, this is what we got going on.
These guys look really busy.
These guys are ready. They're ready for an assault on the station here. They're all lined up, ready to go. You ready to see them?
They all look like you.
Yeah. So here we go. And then when I hit the key, I'll get a different angle this time. Let's do this, Marines, kind of thing. There we go.
Yeah. Hey, hello, folks. Hello.
What up? There you go.
Yeah, cool.
So the reason was I was doing that so I could get characters to shoot
Great.
it. Okay,
Yeah,
right,
this
so
looks
here we
really good. This looks nice. So if you would pick actually the more powerful gun,
yes. Okay.
it would be
I'll just take the elite one.
a bit quicker to destroy things. And so now, as you can see, you have all the Christmas lights around you. So yeah, when we were, it's actually not only us artists, it's also coders, of course, that make this beauty happening. Because we imagine how it should look. We create textures, we create proper behaviors, and then the coders kick in and starting to bind those things together. You know, so it's not only us. I think coders did an amazing job on that. So now, let me mention again, all particles were reworked completely. So previously we had, if I'm not mistaken, 3 atlases for particles, and they were 2K. So now we have only 2 big atlases, and they are 8K.
8K.
8K, yeah, this is really huge. Quite big, I would say. And as you can see, yeah, now you also have some actual light from the from the fire, from the burning.
If I was to turn you can actually see it better over here.
Yeah. So everything is working really nicely and realistic, in a very realistic way.
Mm-hmm. Guys, I will bring Vlado, okay?
Okay, fantastic. So, particles now. I'm trying to think what else you guys...
Armors.
Oh yes,
like
armor edges.
all armors, yes. Yeah, all edges, armor edges, large, small, everything. All the armors, yeah, all of them were reworked completely.
And the reflectivity, the metallicness of armors.
Yeah.
And that is something that you guys might notice is the colours are now richer, would you say?
Yeah.
So it might make your ships look different as they did because of the different in richness now. So the blue is really blue. It was actually a fix that we did to get it back to this.
Exactly.
The correct palette, basically. So, did you want to have Vlado come on now, or did you...
Yes. Now we'll introduce Vlado. So
okay.
Thank you, Natik.
Thank you too.
Okay,
bye. See you guys.
Thanks, Natik. Awful lot of stuff. Again, many thanks, Natik, for all your help with the trailer.
Thank you too.
Joe, can you please switch so I can see where we are sitting, if we are visible?
Okay, yeah. You need to...
Okay, good.
So...
Yeah, so I want to introduce Vlado, who is our COO, which is Chief Operating Officer. So I will explain the story. Many can remember that a year ago or 2 years ago, we started to search for CEO, which is like the boss of King Software House, because I thought that I will be focusing more on games, on AI and so on. But after some time and also, some things, the situation developed that I am still staying as CEO because I like actually developing games, and there is still many things in my vision for space and medieval engineers that I want to develop and like push my vision into the game. And so we changed a little bit, and Vlado is CEO, which is basically kind of like helping me and us with many management or business or basically not the game development related things, and helping me focus more on the creative direction, game development stuff, basically being the director of our games. And so that's Vlado, and Vlado
Hi,
will
guys.
say something.
Hi. Yeah. Well, as Marek said, I'm responsible almost for everything except of coding. So I'm not stepping into Marek's area. I'm more into the leadership, helping him with the strategy of the company, helping with the entire development of the team, all the marketing, PR. Actually, Joel is in my team, so great to have him there. And it's great to be in Keen.
Vlad has also been giving me feedback with the trailer as well, so he's also had an eye on that one.
We spent quite a lot of time on this, but it's been great.
So I don't know if you wanted to. What was I going to say? Sorry, I'm on blank a second. And you're from Slovakia, right? Yes.
Right.
Just like me.
The same country as Marek. Yeah.
Best country, right?
Well, we're not saying that.
There are many best countries.
Yeah, many best countries, but yeah, that's.
You can speak about something, like invent some topic, and I will bring.
Okay.
Better.
Okay. Yeah.
So, what's been the most interesting thing working at Keen so far? Like, if you can say that is.
The freedom of action, in my opinion.
Freedom of action. Okay.
I'm coming from a corporate world, so that's the reason why I'm saying that in Keen the team is very small comparing to my previous experience, and therefore I really like the way how we all operate here, how we can all decide on what's good for the organization, what's good for the team. So I really like the team and everybody who is in Keen. It's for me it's a great experience, really. So that's probably the number one for me.
It's definitely very unique working here, I think.
Oh, yes,
in a good way.
It is.
In a good way. Yeah.
I agree. So
let's see a second. I've got okay.
Army standing there again.
I've got the army standing again ready. I've just been using this as an example here of the multiplayer replay tool, which I'm really, and this is actually something that Petter got us working. So
Okay. So
thanks, Vlado.
Thank you, Vlado. Yes.
Thank you. See you.
Bye.
So many people to get through today, guys. It's crazy. I mean, this is probably the record of people featuring on a stream.
And so this is
Whole
Petr,
team.
who
Welcome
Petr
to class.
Minarik is the lead of Space Engineers team and also like a lead programmer on this project. He is on the project from the beginning, and he was in Keen even before. And so Petr maybe wants to say something about the update.
It's a really nice update and I'm proud of it. And what else? I'm responsible for technical side and I also appreciate Vlado that he takes care about all business and management and I can finally focus on programming again. And I think that it's clearly visible on quality of the
Just
game.
a bit closer, Petter. Sorry, you're quite far away.
And updates. So that's from my side. And I am also proud on whole team and guys in the team now because they did really great job on technical side.
It's been a lot. I mean, I was saying earlier about the trailer being a long ride, but it's been a long ride for everyone actually involved in this update. There's been a lot of, we got to a point and be like, okay, this is pretty good, but we're like, actually no, we want better. It was always about seeing what was the next step basically. And I was showing off this replay tool, which allowed me to quickly make really cool looking shots. And it was something that was, I think, when was it decided, Marek? I don't know if it was it your idea to, I think you...
Yes, but
Marek-
Petr allowed this.
Marek wanted something and I provide this.
Yeah, that's
I
kind of how
think
it works.
this was a very good call actually, like to do this, because we already had a lot of features we wanted to do in this update, and we added like this one on top of it. But I think the trailer shows that it was worth it.
I'm actually going to play back here probably one of my favourite shots in the trailer, and that is when the ship gets destroyed running away here. This save might be broken, I don't know. Let's see.
So Joel, because we need to wrap up things, I will call Chendo.
Okay. Yes.
So-
Brief visit.
Hello.
Yeah. Thank you very much,
You can
Petter.
call him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So stuff I hit.
So in the meanwhile, Joel, maybe we can go through some more block things because I still think there are some things. That
There's
I
a
didn't
lot
say.
here. So I wanted to actually say about Ansel and how with Ansel, if you don't know what Ansel is, it allows you to create 360 degrees images in games, as well as super high resolution like 38K images,
Yes.
3D stereoscopic images, all in the game. So I think it's Alt F2 will allow you to open up the Ansel screen, and that allows you to kind of move around the camera, change some filters and stuff, and yeah, take cool images. So if you've got yeah, exactly, Kevis. Ansel, yes.
So Chendo. So again, I will introduce.
Okay, yeah, introduce it, yeah.
Hey guys,
Chendo.
are we correctly in the
Yes,
picture?
yes, but you can check it, Joel.
Yeah, Max is a little bit.
Yeah. So
Come
again,
here.
I will introduce Chendo again. Chendo is leader of V-Rage engine team and lead programmer there, and kind of like mostly responsible for visual programming on this update.
Okay, hello guys. So,
Chenderendo, exactly.
so how do you like this update?
Just showing off this shot here.
It's recorded or?
No, this is live.
Aha, okay, cool.
It happens differently every time. Like I had to redo it because obviously sometimes it hit a bigger thing and there was a bigger explosion. And
Yeah.
I think the take that I got was actually perfect because it really had that. I think it was a hydrogen tank exploding. It made for that epic boom. So
Yeah.
so let's go through some of the stuff. You've got a whole. Chenda has a whole section in this blog post, and I really recommend reading all of it, guys. It's going to be a night to read. I think it's a lot of pages.
Yeah.
Like 40
Crazy
pages.
long blog post.
And if you're arriving late to the stream or something and you missed certain parts of it, I definitely recommend going through that because it's in great detail, all the changes, how we did it, and the reasons behind it. So this is your section.
No, not yet. Not
Not
yet.
yet.
I think this is the list of changes.
This is the list of changes, yeah.
What's new? Still down.
Still down.
It's still not there. So I can start
Yeah.
just by saying that we actually started to prototype some of the work that is in this update a year ago. So you can actually realize by that we have lots of stuff going on in parallel, or preparing or trying or researching, and it takes some time to really get it out to you because we really want to push the updates when they are ready, when we really feel that we optimized and polished all the details and that we didn't rush it before update. So that's very important to us. Yeah, and so we started a year ago to do prototype of some HDR rendering and eye adaptation, etc. And then as it kind of proved to be nice and it blew our minds actually, then we continued and it got kind of like bigger and bigger than completely new particles, like reworking all those transparent pipeline, lighting, etc., etc. Essentially going through all the rendering, changing all sorts of data that rendering uses until this point. So it was really lots of work.
Mm-hmm. And I'm actually like very glad that they were patient with also me, because I was, I think, very demanding on this in this update, and we went through many iterations, and even like something was good, but it wasn't good enough, you know. So we were pushing and pushing and pushing, and they did so many great things that I didn't need to solve. You know, we just happy like all the global illumination, you know, that it really looks good in different conditions, and so on. Many things.
Yeah, thank you, Marek. But I think it's visible that you can actually play now the game in any environment, on dark side of the earth, underground, or in the space, and it all the time it looks great. So we really make sure that
all the effects, all the features that we have are working well in all the conditions.
Yeah. So do you want to say something more about
Yeah,
the
I just wanted to say more about this, that we started a year ago
Okay.
and now we are releasing it. You can imagine what other stuff we have under the work. We of course don't want to publicly say what we are working on, but there is lots of other stuff that you can look forward as well. Okay, so and talking about this update.
So I don't know what you want to, where shall I start? Shall I go to this? This
Yeah,
is about HDR, that's in the game now.
HDR is probably the most important change in this update because it means that we are rendering the game in not in the range of 0 to 1, but in HDR in high dynamic range. So 0 to, I don't know, I think 150 is maximum for now. It's sun intensity, and then based on the rendered image we kind of do some histogram, we analyze the picture and we find out the exposure that we should use. It's similar thing that is done in photography, for example, that your camera is constantly analyzing the picture and adjusting the exposure of the lens. So and this way of rendering is helping us to really capture details in darker environments, but also keeping the game really nice in bright environments as well. So you can feel the bright and dark parts. So for example, Joel, try to approach the shape on the dark side.
I'm in the ship here.
Yeah. Approach it.
This is all my camera.
So and show the details, because now we will adapt to the dark parts of the ship, and you can see all the details. And if you go on the bright side, you will then adapt to the bright spots. The rest of the screen kind of darkens, but then you can see all the details on the bright side as well. So that helps to perceive the game better.
So guys, I will need to leave.
Okay.
So you can still keep talking. I will just ask you if you can please talk, Joel, about the remaining stuff, because there is this performance chapter in the blog post.
Okay.
Then the feedback from the community and few other things, So if you can mention those things, please.
Okay. Yeah.
It begins there with the
performance differences.
a little bit below. Yeah, there.
Yeah,
it begins there.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Okay. Thank you and goodbye.
See you, Marek.
you.
All right. You can spread out a little bit now.
I'm breathing on your leg.
So, right then, I'll go back to where we were here.
Yeah. Okay, so that's HDR. Then another thing that you can go down.
Okay, yeah.
This is just a histogram, etc. Yeah. Hey.
Okay. Yeah.
So another thing was global illumination, which we are using just a quick hack, let's say, because in games or in normal games, global illumination is pre-computed for the whole scenes because they are mostly static, so they can either create light maps or pre-compute global illumination data. But for us, it's not the case. We cannot do that because all the world is dynamic. Anything can change anytime. So we kind of have to find some different ways how to light the scene. And just to clarify, global illumination means lighting the parts of the scene that are not directly hit by the sun. So, for example, the shadows there or the dark side of the ship. And it also means that this lighting should kind of take into consideration the blocks around us, or environment around us. So, for example, if we are staying near the red wall, the red color should bleed on the objects that are nearby. So that's global illumination. And in our case, we did it by very simple hack that we are rendering some cube map from the position of camera, and this we are using to illuminate the, to essentially calculate the global illumination from. We had similar hack before, but we improved it. So now, for example, if you are standing by the yellow wall, it won't illuminate like mountains in the distance, because right now we are using this cube map only for close proximity objects, and for the far distances we are using just the skybox. So that's about global illumination.
Okay. Again, guys,
Yeah.
I really want to highlight that if you want to kind of get a visual representation of how this is looking, the blog post contains like all of the detailed diagrams about how this looks. So I recommend checking that out.
Yeah.
It'll take you a while to get through it though, as we were saying. I don't know, I think it's 40 pages if you were to separate them into A4. But yeah, so...
Okay. We can skip the
Okay.
attenuation, because you will just see that the point lights and spotlights are much nicer now. They have nicer specular and nicer attenuation. They feel more natural. And yeah.
Glass? Oh, glass? You want to talk about glass?
Yes.
Glass
so
is
please
a,
show us glass.
Yeah,
show us
I
some
will
glass.
show us some glass, yeah.
Yeah, that's our glass. Okay, so it's still a little bit dirty, but we made sure that the dirt is only on the edges. So
The
you
shade
can,
is better though, isn't it though?
yeah, we completely redo the shading. But I know that everybody there will be some voices about the dirt. So just note that the dirt is on the edges, and they never should obscure your view. So we really made sure, and particularly from the inside, the window should feel like
Windows.
crisp, like see-through as possible. So, and regarding the shaders, we improved the reflections, so they are
This thing is quite...
yeah, they are a little bit how to say it. As we are using the environment probe for the reflections, and it's not updated every frame, before it was seen that there is some ghosting effect on the reflection. So we kind of use glossiness to hide this.
so that's what that is there. Like if
yeah.
I get the angle right,
Yeah.
see like, is that what
It's a bit broken, the reflection. It's not
Okay.
like actual crisp reflection, but it's like using the gloss factor.
Okay.
It's broken and looks more natural. And yeah, and there is lots of there is proper specular, proper diffuse lighting of the glass, etc. So yeah, just check it out.
It's looking really nice now. Actually, it's been through many iterations, but I think the balance is much better now.
Yeah.
Like from the inside, you really only see it around the edges. Actually, so
Yeah, like technically,
It looks
the glass
crisper.
is probably the simplest thing that we did in this update, but we spent on it probably the most of the time.
Yeah, I can
To
believe
really
that.
make sure that it feels like glass, but it still is clean enough so it doesn't like bother anybody.
Because we were looking actually, I remember we were looking at windows in the office. Like we were actually
Yeah.
looking at windows,
Taking pictures.
pictures. And if you see, and I think what the guys tried to redo the windows is if you even the windows just here, if you look on the windows, I mean, you might say, yeah, but you see like these tiny little specks, but which are only noticeable when you put your face up to it. So like from here, like from this kind of distance, the glass looks clean. So when you shove your face right against it, you kind of see these dried bits of dust and moisture kind of thing. So yeah, I think it's the time spent on the glass is paying off, I think.
Hopefully you will like it. Okay, so what next? Yeah, vignette and chromatic aberration, it's just simple effect.
And again, guys, if you're joining in the effects, for example, there's an option right here to... No, not that one.
Come on, we are talking about
No,
new effects and you are showing them how to disable them.
Well, no,
No?
Marek made the point earlier that it's not it's not everyone's cup of tea. So if you aren't a fan, you can switch it off as simple as that, and then there is no there's virtually no bloom. Well, there is no bloom. It's zero bloom on all the panels. But I was actually kind of giving a shout out to the fact that the bloom is... Actually, talk about the bloom and how it's a higher quality bloom now, because it's not as like hazy. It's actually a good looking bloom now.
It's exactly as Joel said. It's higher quality bloom.
And then when you get close to it,
it's for this HDR update, it's very important the bloom, because bloom is communicating what's bright and what's not bright. For example, here
the LCDs,
you can really feel that the specular over there is really bright. If you disable, try disabling this bloom, it kind of gets. You see, it's not really. You don't feel where the real highlight and where the real intensity is coming from. So it's kind of it's like in reality you feel it because your eyes are kind of doing the same effect, but your brain is kind of filtering it, so you probably don't see it as much. But when you take pictures by camera, it's there.
I think the key thing is that even though with the new bloom, because one of the biggest complaints about bloom in the past is the fact that LCD panels were unreadable. But now, like this is bloom on with the normal settings and the brightness, but these are like the text is fully visible here. You've even got reflections on there as well. Yeah. So I think that's it's actually done in a way that...
Yeah, that was very important to really disable blooms on the LCDs so they are readable.
Yeah, super readable. I don't think there's any difference if you switch between the two modes off. Like if you turn off that setting, you won't see any difference actually.
Who's there?
This is Jochem.
Ah, hey Jochem.
I think. Yeah, Jochem snuck in. He's showing off the new welding there, I think. Oh, let's actually, we haven't done that yet. If I get out a tool, it's a new flame.
Yeah, show us the grinder as well.
Oh yeah, the grinder is, let's put it this way, when you're grinding now, you know you're grinding. You know you're grinding when you're grinding.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, now try it without this bloom. Joel.
Sorry, I was just distracted by the beauty.
No
I was just switching off with the beauty of the... Right, now bloom's off.
And all the glory is gone.
Ah, I see. Yeah, so let's just avoid Jochem here. So that's with the setting off. Let's grind some stuff down.
Because now you can't feel that this is really hot and glowing and intensity. It has some intensity. So therefore the bloom is very important in HDR rendering.
Well, this is why I think, it's the... when you did the bloom, I still want to say it's a controversial subject, but I think it is. Like some people don't want too much bloom because it.
Yeah,
but what I'm saying is with the setting, the way that you've done the bloom, it's in a way that like. Honestly, the biggest problem with bloom was always these panels. So you do get a bit of bloom here, but you can still read it. Beforehand, the old bloom, it would have been like just a blurry kind of
Just ugly.
Ugly, yeah, exactly. So, and if say here, you see this is hello, we see some bloom on the timer block, but as we approach it and stand next to it, hold on, there's some. Is it? I think I was doing something. Oh, it's the it's running the script there. That's why it's flashing. But it should actually. Is it?
It's not enough intensive, but yeah,
The
I know
further
what
away,
you mean.
Yeah, the further away
If-
you are, the brighter
yeah.
it is. Then if I switch back to the grinding now with the setting back on, you really see that it's a powerful machine.
So yeah, and probably the last thing that we haven't touched yet is colorization shader.
Okay, so this is the color of the armor, yeah.
Which is kind of important to us because the original Space engineers had really hand-picked, very carefully selected palette of colors, and all the custom worlds, etc., were created with those colors, and it kind of broke when we were converting the render from DX9 to DX11. So now we finally got to fixing it, and we have again colorization as it was in original Space Engineers. And it's not only like the colorization is like the original colors are now really as they should be, but now it unleashes the whole palette of colors, the whole range of colors which weren't available on DX11 before. So that's really good change. The downside is that it will change all the colors in the game.
So your I was saying this. So your ships that you made in the past might not be the color that you had originally hoped them to be because of this change. But I think it's in general, I said the colors are much richer now.
Yeah, but it will touch only the saturation and the intensity. The hue will stay the same, so it cannot change the blue ship to red ship, for example, but it may change the saturation of this color or the intensity to be of a different value.
That's actually something that I really like here, and that is the the tracer round. Well, the Gatling fire. It looks amazing now. I've really getting like a Battlestar Galactica feel.
Yeah, we are not talking about like making things worst. It may be different. In some cases better, hopefully in most cases.
So I just crashed there. Joachim shot off the nacelle of the ship.
Why, Joachim?
He likes to. He was Joachim, go ahead and just shoot this thing. And I was going to show off the actual Gatling fire myself. Actually, no, what I'll do is if I get all these guns firing on Joachim, that'll be more fun. So if I hop in here and take ownership of this ship, we'll see all those Gatlings unleashing hell, I think. Oh, is your... Oh, then what we turned off. Let's see. Oh, hold on. Wow. And with the bloom, it gives a really, really powerful effect to that. There we go. He's down. There you go.
Nice.
He's going down. Oh!
Nice.
Gotcha, Joachim.
Okay, so that's about rendering stuff, I think. The last thing that I would like to say is about performance.
Yes.
You are probably worried about how much it will cost you in regards of your FPS, and I can tell from our tests it's like in some cases we have improvements. For example, any scenarios with planets are now performing better, about 10 or 20% better, and in some cases, for example space where there are no voxels, there will be a little bit performance hit, about 10% down, but only on lower or mid-range cards. So, for example, Intel cards or 750 or some mid-range cards. High-end cards won't notice at all that there were some changes.
I think I saw Darian mention in the chat that he had 30 FPS on planets and now he has like 70, apparently.
And he has what card?
I don't know. What card do you have?
Yeah, planets
Darian.
with new voxels got really like improvement, performance improvement. But I'm not sure whether it's such a huge one.
See if I can show off a miner here. Wanting to mine.
Yeah, 1080 should be performing still the same in space and definitely better on planets.
Showing off the new mining effects here. New sounds to the drills as well. Haven't got enough power on this ship to escape though. Drill heads have changed as well, haven't they? They have a new model.
Yeah.
They're looking more metallic now.
So that's it. Any questions?
Any questions about render, guys? Ideally, because that's Chenda's speciality for this update, at least. So
Yeah, for this update.
for this update, he's not just good in that; he's good in many ways. Because I realised there was a ton of questions, and we kind of focused getting through all this stuff. So if you have any questions about it, we have a bit of time now for Chenda to look at this. Not much sleep, MM Master. This week it's probably one of the roughest I've had for a while actually, but it's been worth it. I think in the end the trailer turned out pretty alright, so it was worth it in the end. But it was been quite a long week this. So you have to choose because there's so many questions here. You can't answer them all at once.
What is actually rendered as window reflections now? It's as I was talking about the global illumination, that we are rendering some cube map from the position of camera, and that's actually also the source for reflections on glass. So that's it, easy stuff.
What the hell's this? Oh my goodness. We're looking at some weird contraption here from Jochen. Aragath has cooked us up. Look at this. What's it doing down there? Oh no way, he's... Oh yeah, this is his engine. This is his engine. Yeah, Jochem's been working on a combustion engine in Space Engineers. I've seen like a... Yeah, you're right. Yeah, right. Yeah. Yes, this is actually a small one. I've seen a much bigger combustion engine from him. Sorry, I mean...
Nice,
do you see
nice.
any... Do you see any...
Guys are asking what we'll be working on next, but unfortunately we cannot tell.
We cannot
right?
tell. I mean, no, we can't tell. But I think they...
But we have really...
They know.
like,
They know.
we have some stuff.
They
in
know
work.
what they're doing. Actually, some of the ideas they've already seen because in previous streams that we've discussed it. But
What have you discussed?
oh well, I can't. Well, you know, stuff. But it's yeah.
Yeah, you can look forward to lots of new stuff. Obviously, we are kind of done with visual, at least for now. So we'll focus on art, right?
Yes. yeah. Well, it's true. This has been a lot of work, but again, this is not the only update. It's not like everyone has been on this. We do have things going on in parallel here.
Yeah.
So the people who have now finished working on this will, of course, shift focus to the next thing or things that are going to come out. I think the next couple of weeks we'll also be looking at, I guess, any bugs or issues that people have. So please be sure, guys, a lot has changed. Even if you don't want to look at the full blog post, you can see just with a changelog. I think that is the longest changelog we have ever released. There is a ton of changes, and I still don't think I've scratched the surface of all of the changes deep in the code. There's been a lot of stuff gone down, isn't there? So this is Joachim's combustion engine here. Bizarre. I think he made it because of the new particles. He really saw the new particles and think, I'm going to build one of those.
So a good chance DS will get some focus, yes.
Yes, because multiplayer is...
But we are still, we are continuously working on improving multiplayer. But
there was something in this update, I think, from Sandra.
There is all the time something. Yeah. Definitely, we fix any of these things we know about all the time. And we are fixing rubber banding all the time as well. And yeah, I think performance will be something that we will be looking at a lot near future.
It's one of those continuous things there. Right. But there's just wheels are great, new particles are great. It's yeah.
I'm looking forward to see really some interesting mods for wheels. I mean, for example, some destruction derby or something like this.
I think it will happen now, because it's in the past so many things with wheels have been attempted, but because of a wheel's fragility, it's always been quite hard to do things with wheels. So it's actually nice now, because I think a lot more content on the workshop is going to be created, and lots of more fun is going to be had with wheels. We were just showing off earlier how they react to different surfaces now. So on ice you'll get drifting more, and then on kind of this kind of terrain you'll have better grip. And the other site is worth visiting is the feedback site, because that feedback site actually tells you, what some of the things that we are working on or have plan to work on. So you can see the feedback.keensoftwarehouse.com site, and that is always being checked. There's a lot of submissions now, but Peter, who is in charge of the project, regularly goes through those and reviews new ones and so on.
Honestly, we haven't
not recently,
through them.
Yeah. The last couple of weeks
it was really crazy, but we will, after the major, we will update it. And yeah, I think with this major there will be lots of stuff actually solved. So, and we are definitely looking at feedback to have idea what's your pains or needs.
Trying to think here. I've got to go through some more points on the blog post here. I think one of them is performance. So, do you want to give some examples? For example, Easy Start Earth. This was done by our testers, and there's a whole Excel spreadsheet which you can see the tests from our testers and how they came to these conclusions here. So we have compared to 185, it was using about 0.3 more gigabyte of RAM, but FPS of Easy Start Earth was from 75 to 90, and is that what do you know what that'll be a 750 Ti, won't it? It was tested. These tests.
I don't know what card was
Let me
used.
just see if it says. I'm pretty sure it will be, because most of the testers, I think all the testers' PCs are 750. Yes, it's a 750 Ti. All the tests are 750 Ti's. So that's 75 to 90 FPS across the update. That's quite significant here. So we've got Easy Start Space the same. Star System goes from 83 to 120 FPS. Empty Worlds, of course, the same. But it's also showing that how the memory usage is changing as well.
Okay, Joel, I will.
You gotta go.
leave.
All right,
Yeah.
cool. Thanks, Chenda.
So
And
thanks, Joel. See you guys in the next major update.
next major update. Yes, I'm sure. I'm sure.